everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Logistics with Purpose, where we spotlight change makers across the world who are making a difference in all kinds of ways. And we're excited to welcome another do-gooder this morning. I am Kristi Porter with Vector Global Logistics, and co-hosting with me today is Roesch, who's also on our team. Hi, Moni, how are you?
Hi, Kristi. It's great to see you again. Good, and you?
Great to see you. I'm excited to co-host this with you. We've been trying to organize this interview for a while, and it's going to be another good one, especially for everyone listening who is in the automotive and manufacturing space. So this will be a really interesting one, and we're excited to welcome Terri. So let's bring in Terri. Terri Seese is the founder and CEO of Alliance Solutions Group Hope Foundation. So we are thrilled that she is able to join us this morning. So hi, Terri, how are you?
Hi, good morning. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. We're so excited to be here and chatting with you. We've been trying to get this interview scheduled for a while. We love what you're doing. So we're thrilled to finally have you on. And as we were just talking about, this is going to be a great interview for everybody, but not just, but also just the people in the automotive and manufacturing space. To hear what you're doing is really incredible. So I know it's going to be really exciting and inspiring for a lot of people. So we appreciate you joining us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the invite and being with you ladies and everybody. I'm honored, and it's a huge compliment. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah. Well, before we get into what you're doing right now, let's back it up a little bit. So if you'd tell us first where you grew up, a little about your childhood, and just give us a snapshot of your background growing up.
Yeah, that would be the snapshot. I like that. We don't have that much time.
Yes, and for some reason these are the hardest questions for people to answer.
They are. I have to tell you, you asked very good questions. But no, I had a very good childhood, very blessed, and I was born and raised in Georgia. So I'm still here, and life was good, and life is still good. It's good times, bad times, hard times, everything. So born and raised, and I'm still here, and I guess it would fall under economic development. So I have seen it all.
Yeah. It's a good place to be.
It is. And not to date myself, but things were, there was not the technology that there is today. And it was good. You're riding your bike through the neighborhood, and the neighborhood lights, when they went out, you had to go home.
Yes.
So.
Good. So looking back, Terri, what is the story from your early years that shaped you to who you are today, or even connects you with what you do now?
Good question. I guess early on, and even today, I always know what I want, and, definitely work towards that goals. So, to go back, to when I was growing up, it was, again, back to the good times and the bad times, and seeing that kind of helped shape. I know what I wanted and what I didn't want, growing up, to this day. So that's working towards where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do, both on a personal and a professional side.
Yes. Well, you're definitely very driven, and we're excited to hear more about everything you have going on. But so I'm curious, of course, we all know hindsight is 2020. So I'm also curious if there is something you've learned now as an adult that you wish you knew as a child or a teen. So much, right?
One word: patience.
Oh, yeah. That's a
tough one.
Patience. Patience. Believe it or not, obviously, as we all get older, we're supposed to get wiser, but honestly, patience, you actually kind of learn more than when you're always in a hurry.
Yeah.
You really do. So to answer that question, that would be patience. And plus two, I know in today's world, again, personal and professional, everybody has so much going on, but I had somebody tell me once, and even a lot of times it's the stress and the hustle and the bustle and the, all of that, it's not going to solve the problem. So it just patience to answer that question.
Yeah. The problem with trying to learn patience, though, is it means you're continually being tested in it.
Yes. And again, it just kind of goes back to that, take a step back, and that just mental, it's like, okay, deep breath, and, let's just fix it. And how are you going to fix it moving forward?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. And I think it's a really tough one.
Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah. Wow. So let's jump a little into your career. You are the founder of 2 companies and a nonprofit, and you also serve as an advisor for a couple of other organizations. So you are doing a lot of things at the same time, and that's just amazing. So
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing at the moment and how you manage it.
Goodness. Well, I started Alliance in 2008 when the whole world was downsizing. I'm very passionate. I enjoy what I do. If I have any kind of input to anybody, just do what makes you happy. And so I started the company then. So obviously we're still here and still growing. And then about, over 5 years ago, I started the foundation.
So what does the company do first?
Yeah. I'm sorry, what?
Tell us a little bit about what your company does first.
Oh, Alliance?
Yeah.
We are a software and hardware solution provider supporting the supply chain industry. So we're an authorized partner with Zebra Technologies on a hardware side, and on a software side, we do custom database design and integration. Thank you. And thanks. And so manufacturing, distribution, all that. But again, in 2008, when the whole world was downsizing, it doesn't matter what industry you were in, I wanted to keep going, and it allowed me to keep going on my beliefs and implementing that foundation, working with everybody. And so I'm very blessed. Thanks. And then about 5 years ago, as a mom and as a business person, I started the foundation, Alliance Solutions Group Hope Foundation, ASG Hope. And, what that model is we teach STEM to K through 12, specific to supply chain. So the 2 companies, so I, also too, I've learned you really kind of have to manage what you do so that you can put your attention to it. You just can't, you cannot put too much on your plate. You have to pick and choose, but, teaching the kids and working with them and growing the foundation as well, it's just a big passion and determination.
And now that you talk about them, they do sort of go hand in hand. I can understand how they came together, but they're still very different at the same time. So there must have been some sort of realization or aha moment that led to the creation of the foundation. So what was that like?
Thank you. I think the aha moment, more than one, but there's a huge gap between the generations and the real world, between knowledge. And again, it's can we do things better? I'm guilty of it, raising my daughter. But the aha moment, there's just a gap, and it's just that it needs to be blended. And so that's a big part of our model. And then also too, just from my past experiences, and just life and everyone in the world who, challenges, it's, if we can share those with our current generation, and of course, working towards our future workforce, to share our experiences, and this is why things are done this way, and, kind of give them a leg up. That's a big part of what we do and what I wanted to do, in starting the foundation. And I'm happy to see that, the results, and it's working on both sides.
Yeah. And STEM is obviously hugely popular and growing, thank goodness, in a lot of ways over the last couple of years. And you gave us a little bit of an overview, but tell us a little bit more about the inner workings. It's not easy working with a school, but tell us a
That's the
little
challenge.
more. Yeah, tell us a little more about what that looks like in a day-to-day, as far as especially supply chain coming into it late in my career as well. Is not an easy thing to learn. So I'm curious as to what that actually looks like through a school system.
Sure. It's that was a learning experience in itself. And it is a challenge, but the teachers and the students, they're all on board, and they're like, sign us up. What do we need to do? But it's really nice when we're working with the students and the teachers, but specifically the students, that when you're introducing the real world to them and projects and why things are done, or it's like, hey, you have an iPhone in your hand, or you have an Android phone in your hand, but everything it takes to get it in your hand, or the gaming system, whatever it is, this generation or even adults that they want to buy, pointing those things out to them. It's nice to see that it's an attention getter to them.
Yeah, for sure. And what do some of the lessons look like?
Well, on a technology side, a lot of, what we call 101 lessons, just basically, what is supply chain? How does it work? And again, just, companies, this is what they do. This is why. It's really, we're just, we're that platform between corporate America and K through 12. And, we have expanded into other states, and it's just a huge compliment that, everyone's wanting to say, hey, let's, do this together.
Yeah.
And it's,
has certainly become more visible in the last 18 months. So there's probably a bigger conversation happening now. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and it also really, there's so many positives to all of this, because what it also does is, I'm very adamant about communication, and we all learn, but regardless of what age group we're in, it's all about the communication. So it's pointing things out and the communication to the students, and to anybody. And then once they see it, it just really opens everybody's eyes. And we put clarity to things, because that's another thing we've learned is, a lot of people and the students, they have a perception of things in the real world, but that's not really what it is.
Yeah.
Wow. So talking about the lessons, and I can tell that you love entrepreneurship and you love to keep innovating and stuff like that. So where do you find all of your inspiration and motivation? I know that it has a lot to do with people, because you were mentioning like you need these teachers and talented people, but where do you find Terri, your motivation?
I think it's another good question. You ladies are awesome. I think it's just, it falls under my own lessons learned, like we talked about. And it's, whether it's the good or the bad, it's sharing both. And of course, being a mom, you don't want, and it's anybody, it just, sharing life experiences. And, but as far as the K through 12, helping them with that leg up on what to expect, because everybody's like, okay, I have to go to school. Okay, I'm in elementary, now I'm in middle, now I'm in high school. And all of a sudden it's like, I'm done. I'm 16, I have to start working, or I'm 18, I have to do this. What do I have to do? And it's all of a sudden you're just like, you hit a brick wall, and it's like, what do I do?
Yeah.
So it's, working, with all the states and the students, the passion comes from, if we can help share those stories to where people don't have the hard times or don't have as many hard times, it's really just kind of opening the eyes and giving that leg up on what to expect and prepare. you know, and that even goes all the way down to a financial side, you know, which, you know, to me, that contributes in other areas. I mean, you don't want people to struggle if they can help it. But again, to me, it casts a wide net on where the passion and, you know, what we do comes from. It's personal experience, and there's a gap between how the real world works and our, you know, current students. You know, they're focused on school and learning and all that. But again, it's, you know, just need to kind of blend it together.
Yeah. And you talked about, well, first I'd love for you to tell us some of the successes that you've had with the program. I know you're expanding to other states, you mentioned, which is incredible. I think before the first time you and I talked, you also had mentioned taking students on field trips to automotive plants because of your background with the automotive industry. So yeah, tell us a few of the things that are going on and some of the successes that you guys have had.
Well, we continue to have successes, and it's a extra good feeling, you know, when we give our scholarships. And so we continue to have those successes, and our corporate partners, you know, supporting us and being with us, and new corporate partners, and just the success that everyone likes, you know, the model and what we're doing. And again, it all points to, you know, the communication and working with the students, and, you know, just kind of opening new doors. And, you know, it's huge, and it makes us all work harder, you know. And then, you know, that leads to, you know, whether you have students that don't want to go to college or can't go to college, you know, that goes into the trade skill category. So it's just a win-win all the way around. And again, it just comes down to all of the communication and just kind of sharing, you know, the real world with the students, and helping. We've created that revolving door. And it just makes us work harder that everybody is a part of it and likes it and supports it.
Yes, and obviously Monica's in Aguascalientes, one of our other offices, huge area for cars and manufacturing. We're in Atlanta. Talk about just how well, I'd love to also just kind of to tie this further together with people, your career in the automotive industry, why these areas are so, what's happening in automotive, and how, as you said, the companies are responding to the students in the program.
Yeah, it's, well, of course, you know, the workforce is a challenge, you know, the lack of, you know, it's also the perception that some people have, you know, in manufacturing, and it doesn't apply just to specifically automotive, it's just manufacturing in general. You know, so that's something we're all working on, is to put clarity to that, and, you know, introduce and show the benefits of, you know, working in manufacturing, and, you know, again, so they can look ahead at their future career options.
And how have they, I guess for the students themselves, what kind of questions are you hearing, or maybe things that they had no idea about, just how supply chain work or possible future careers? What do students think about all of this?
You know, if they listen, it's kind of nice to see them listening. And it's like, you know, the whole world is supply chain, really. The whole world is STEM, you know, and it really is. And so just explaining that to them, you know, we're going, you know, you go to a manufacturing plant, and or you go to an automotive manufacturing plant, and it just really opens their eyes. And then they do. It's nice to see them start asking questions, because again, that kind of puts, you know, it's like, okay, you're interested, you know, now that you have seen this, we are opening your eyes, and we follow through with the students. That was the other thing, you know, I didn't want with the foundation is, you know, it's like, okay, today was today, and then now we're on the next day, and it's all forgotten. You know, that's something else that, you know, we stay consistent about, but we follow the students, and it's nice that the students stay in communication. It was also nice to hear, of course, before COVID hit, and, you know, we couldn't go into the classroom, as much or at all. But, you know, one of our models is leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some of our teachers, one specifically, who broke out in teams and, you know, teaching, okay, you know, this student has to be the supervisor or the executive for that team. And one of our biggest compliments, which love it, is that the students who have graduated or were in that have come back to us and that teacher and said, you know, this really helped because they're seeing it in the real world.
Yeah.
Now that they're working.
Yeah.
So that's another huge thing. Good thing to hear.
Yeah, and especially because the automotive industry is just huge, as Kristi was saying, in Aguascalientes, and here we have the largest Nissan manufacturers, and it's been growing a lot in the last years, and you can see a lot of young people trying to start their careers over there, but we also have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 manufacturers that sell some auto parts to Jatco, Aresti, Honda, Ford, etc. So it really is huge, and it's great to see that everything keeps evolving and everything changes. The processes are not the same as a few years ago, and the companies are constantly looking for people who has that leadership and like that vision that they want to share. And it's great that there's people like you and foundations like this that can encourage and give people that opportunity, because sometimes you just don't know where to start or how to do it. So yeah.
Thank you. And you know, in your experience too, I appreciate that. And your experience, you know, a supplier, OEM, or, you know, any manufacturing, any company, you're right. It's, you know, once they see it and see the benefits, you know, and on a supplier side, you know, I was in a classroom one time and, you know, some of these students, they're like, you know, do I have to go to college? Or, you know, I want to open up my own shop. I want to do this, you know, okay, well, that's fine, but you still have to go to school. And here's why, you know, you still have to have certifications. And when I talk about communication and really pointing out, you know, one of the things that I pointed out to them was, you know, all of us here on the call, us three ladies and, you know, myself, it's like, okay, on an automotive topic, you know, I take my car in to get serviced. I'm trusting you that's working on my car to make sure that I'm safe.
Totally.
You know, so I'm adamant about communication, and it's really just pointing things like that out. You know, if I took my car to you and, you know, okay, that's fine. You want to open up your own mechanic shop, that's great. You know, but here's what you still have to do. And here's why you need to be careful. You know, I'm trusting you. I don't want to get hurt on the highway. I don't want to have a wreck, or I don't want my tire to fall off, or, you know, so it's, you know, whether it's an automotive or robotic, I mean, just anything, it's also pointing those details out to the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot of plans for the future, a lot of hopes for the future. What can we expect, either coming short term or maybe your long-term vision? You've already expanded into a couple other states. You talked about other corporate partners coming on. So what is your, what are some of the goals ahead of you?
We don't have enough time. No, it's all good. It's all good. Thanks. Well, on an immediate level, definitely continue with the scholarships and helping, and you know, all of us, including the other states, you know, just working together and you know, making that change, positive change. But the big the big challenge that I'm working on and continuing to work on is apprenticeships. You know, to get in at a younger age. So that's a big thing that continuing to work on right now with everybody.
And is that at executive level or in the plants themselves, or what does that look like?
To be in the company, in the plants, in the company, in corporate, and on a state level. Every company's different and the requirements and the liability requirements that they have. But I'm not convinced yet that cannot be worked around.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I'm guessing you're hoping to continue expanding across the US and perhaps into other countries as well. It sounds like it's a model that could be replicated in a lot of ways.
Thanks. I think so. Yeah, definitely. And it's just, it makes us work harder, and it's a huge compliment working to share in other states, our model, because it really is just kind of blending, and we're that platform, between the students and corporate America. And it's, and I'm still a lot of old school, and, I was playing with Tinker Toys, and, I was out riding my bike, and, and I'd like to see, more of that in the world today. I always look for positives out of everything. And to me, one big positive out of COVID was you saw families really spending time together and walking in my neighborhood, and the kids were riding bikes, and again, that kind of puts proof in, my beliefs and what we do today. You need everything. You need both. You need everybody. But it's just a matter of working together and putting those processes together, from all generations to make it work.
Right.
And working together, it is also with respect for each other and communication.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm curious, between your either your for-profit companies or the nonprofit, is there a mistake that you've made that others can learn from? You talked about a number of different subjects under both categories, so I'm curious if anything stands out to you that the rest of us can learn from.
That's a great, hard question. That's a great one. I'm not sure. I mean, yes, nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
So we all make mistakes. But it might just be hard for me to answer or think of something, because, I had somebody tell me growing up, if you learn something, it wasn't a mistake.
Right.
So I guess you just learn. That's tough.
Turn everything into a learning experience. Yeah,
exactly. So I guess you learn. Learn. That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good hard question.
You'll have to get back to us. I know. It's
definitely.
For me, it's hard to pick out just one.
No, truth. There's so many, but it's some you don't want to share.
That's great. We'll do that after the recording.
Yeah. Well, and talking about your experience as an advisor, for example, at Georgia Automotive Manufacturers Association, what is a current challenge in this industry that you see, and what are one or two solutions?
Definitely parts shortages, and then workforce. Yeah, that would be the top two immediate answers. And regarding workforce, there's a lot of reasons why on that. But what is in our control, and what we're doing is just introducing and putting clarity to these job options for the students.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And then outside of challenges, what do you see? Again, you've been around the automotive industry for a long time and certainly going through a lot of changes in the last couple of years. So current or future trends, what do you see coming? And then how will those come into play at the foundation as well?
As far as the future, to date myself again, we are headed towards whoever invented that cartoon, the Jetsons. That is where we are headed.
Wow.
Still waiting for my hoverboard from back to
exactly. So I mean, the technology in all my opinion, but yeah, the Jetsons, I was like, somebody really saw into the future on that one. Wow. But I mean, we're kind of already there. I mean, there's so much already being worked on and things that I continue to learn, you know, working with friends and colleagues and, you know, on a technology side. I feel we all can't keep up with what we already have right now,
Right.
and especially on supply chain, which also leads into we are already developing and thinking so far into the future. We're not even close to being that far ahead, you know, on a workforce and bandwidth size.
Yeah.
I think we're further ahead than a lot of people may realize.
Yeah. So what's something you've learned recently?
Oh goodness. One related to which topic?
Well, we'll stick in either automotive or nonprofit leadership, your choice.
Both.
Yeah.
What? I'm sorry, what, Monica?
Or both.
Or both. There you go. You know, again, just continue to practice patience.
Yeah.
You know, continue to practice patience. And that's another good question. The patience and just really just take one day at a time, but definitely do not lose sight of your goals. Continue to work towards your goals. You know, I always, you know, within myself have a saying, if you want something bad enough, you're going to make it happen.
Right.
Definitely.
And with people out there and the students and adults, you know, really just network and lean on your friends and just ask questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Many people is afraid of asking questions, but they don't realize the growth they can achieve if they just ask, or the difference that they can make if maybe they come to a better answer or something, they can develop something great. But it will not happen if they don't, if they are afraid of asking.
Yeah.
You're exactly right, and that was well said. And it is, and it doesn't mean you have to ask just anybody. You know, you can ask, you know, someone who you want to confide in and trust and all that. But yeah, don't keep everything inside. Just really work together, and trust is a big thing. Personal and professional, I've always been big on trust. And but yeah, just work together. There's so many things in today's world that I wish people would, you know, stop and think about and change, you know, working together, even on a leadership side. Because yeah, like we talked about before, people should not be afraid to go ask questions, like you said, and or fear of something's going to happen. You know, I wish if I had a magic wand, there'd be some immediate things that I would like to change.
That's awesome. So Terri, if anyone wanted to connect with you or support the Hope Foundation, how can they do it?
You can email me or just go to our website. The website is Alliances Inc. That's inc.com. And then my email is first name dot last name at that domain.
Perfect.
Okay.
And so for, you talked about corporate partners, we have people in the automotive industry listening. So what are you looking for specifically from corporate partners right now, outside of dollars, which is always helpful?
You know, well, yeah, dollars are good for scholarships and sustainability, but, you know, I would love, you know, for anybody who wants to be a part and work together and become a corporate partner, you know, because partnership, it's a two-way street. It's always been my definition. It's never been one-sided. You know, so if we can work together towards that goal of supporting and training our future generation, I would definitely share more details on how we do that. And really, you know, everybody's kind of contributing to their own workforce as well, you know, working with us.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. So much great insight, and I love what you're doing, and definitely we need more mentorship, we need more apprenticeship, and we need to start training the next generation
Wow.
for supply chain. So thank you so much, Terri.
Oh, thank you. You ladies are wonderful. Thank you. Learned from you two
Thank you.
today too.
Yes. Thanks for being here, Moni. Thank you again, Terri. Thanks to everyone for listening at home. We look forward to bringing you another great interview with the Logistics with Purpose series again soon. So we'll talk
All
later.
right. Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.